Hello YouTube, this is Shirley426 and today we have the review of the Zeno Rex Buster XA form from the Zoids Wild Senki. Now the Zoids Wild Senki is like a short a web anime that you can actually see officially on YouTube. It kind of goes back to the old traditional Zoids, two countries fighting each other with Zoids as well, and more militaristic aspects rather than the new a kid main character going on an adventure or whatever. So a few months ago, or maybe last year, I did review these Burning Liger, which I actually do like the design, and then it definitely had a few aspects that I really liked, and the fact that the reason I bought and liked Burning Liger compared to the other recent ones is because the pilot area is actually covered up well, which how it should be in a Zoids mech. I'm gonna say this right away. The main reason why I can't support or I don't like the the new Zoids Wilds and stuff is because of how the cockpit area is. They are outside, either on the head or on the back, exposed. Not in a cockpit like this, which is why is another reason I bought. But like I was like shocked to see like the pilot figurine was outside and exposed. Granted, even some of the old Zoids had some of them, but that was only a few exceptions. While the new ones, that's like a norm, which I can't really take in. So yeah. So anyway, Zoids Wild Senki, I basically learned that it existed very late, but once again, I really liked the two Zoids that came out in there, which was number one was the Burning Liger, which I did review and enjoy, but once again, I would like to mention this right away as well, is that these are battery powered. So meaning that they have the middle, they have a core motor system inside the body. So unlike Gunpla, which you can move the kit in your free will, like you can move the arms, you can bend the arms and legs, whatever you want. Zoids kit, on the other hand, that has, I'm not talking about the Kotobukiya HMM kits, I'm talking about these ones from the, is that these, because of the core motor system, there's nothing you can do about the stance, the pose, or anything. It's just the way how you're just pretty much stuck the way how it's supposed to move as well. Granted, yes, Takara Tomy / T, they have opened up a new brand called T-Spark and are going to release new Zoid, the good old-fashioned Blade Liger or Saber Tiger or Commander Wolf kits that have free range of articulation, which I did pre-order some of them, so really excited for that. So anyway, let's see what we got here. So as you may know, for those who are familiar, Zeno Rex is supposed to be blue. This one is called the Zeno Rex Buster XA mode. So Zeno Rex itself is supposed to be blue, and this is the base form. The way how this works is like similar to Liger Zero, where he has two other equipment sets. One is called the XA, the scissor unit, and this is the one that I have, which is called the Buster unit parts. Now, I'm not sure about how in other countries are, but in our country, what they basically did is that they sold this one, which is basically the Buster unit set version. So in this XA mode, so XA mode is basically originally he's blue. And then they would sell a version which in the blue form you can buy the parts separately here and then attach it, which comes with basically all the upgrade parts. So you could either buy two things and make a blue version, or you can buy this set which has everything, but it will be in this XA mode, which matches the color of the equipment as far as I can basically tell. Now in the web anime series Senki, they don't do a good job showing or explaining like how the upgrade works, or basically the upgrade form is not only basically that you slap on the extra equipment, but this thing is supposed to also get bigger. So the tail gets longer, bigger feet, the necks get longer. But once again, in the YouTube video, they don't really show that aspect too well, but they do talk about it. So yeah. Anyway, let's see what we got. So there's not much going to be talking about articulation, so it's going to be pretty short in terms of that aspect. Alright, so let's see what we got here. So once again, the core motor system requires one AAA battery, and then you have to unscrew the cover to put the battery in, obviously. So just wanted to point that out. So let's talk about the head as usual. So the head. Once again, it's one of the few Zoids Wilds kit that actually does this, is where the pilot seat is, covered up very well, nicely. So you can see the pilot seat isn't there now. The pilot seat is obviously, if you try the old school, Zoids kit back in the day, you can definitely tell that these pilot figurines has gotten way bigger. So back then they would be like really small, about this size, roughly about that. And then this is now way bigger. And then they're always in this motorcycle stance, and then they would have these pegs on the hand so they can plug it in. So this guy's not going anywhere. So yeah, just wanted to point that out. Now, I would also like to mention, I'm not sure if I mentioned this on my other review, but basically Zoids Wilds Kit, you buy them, they will be in this place where they're not on plot plates, they're all pre-cutted. So the parts are already all cutted up, they're not on plates, they're in bags. So they try to simplify the whole building process, which to some people that might be good, to other people that would be like, isn't that ruining the whole fun of making model kits, or that's not really a good way to teach how to make model kits? I don't really know what they were thinking, but once again, that's the way how it is. Which also means, like this eye over here, the head, that's not a separate piece. That's already been pre-colored as well. So yeah, those eyes are not separate pieces. They have already been colored up. Now even the mouse, you can't really even open it freely because there's a switch here, and the only way to open the mouse is to make this guy walk, and then yeah, even the arms, so everything is pretty much locked up in some kind of a motorized joint. Hence, there's not much freedom in the overall articulation. So it moves pretty well. I'll give it that. And the tail also wags, not freely, but it also works on on a pushing gimmick, as you can see on the mechanism here. So yeah, that is one downside, because I feel like Burning Liger and this guy would really shine if they had like free range of articulation, which I do hope happens in the future, whether it's the T-Spark line or the HMM line from Kotobukiya. Either one of those, I will accept them very welcomely. And so because of the whole motorized mechanism thing, also another downside is these things. This is also a thing back in the old Zoids era where anything that walks, they would always have, especially with two legs, they will always have these extra supports so that it doesn't fall on its own. Now, I've never tested this where if it actually falls on its own without these, but man, these look butt ugly. So I might actually test it out in the future. Alright, so we've seen the basic of the head. The arms, well, now as you can see, the arms did move on its own, but I'm not sure how I'm assuming they work on like a pushing gimmick because of these things on the bottom. But once again, if you exclude those, these are pretty much just dangling there here. And then once again, they do use these rubberized like parts like the old days as well. So these are actually rubber, and just for your reference, you do get 2 leftovers. So yeah, so once again, legs can't move, arms can move, dangle around a little bit, and then once again, you have this back section, which is yeah, but once again, we have this part that I think you can push to the back and reveal, that can reveal another gear joint here. So basically the way how this works is that they also try to do like a whole customization system where you can slap on new weapons, and if you have something that's compatible with this part, then the weapon will also move around as well. So I think this might be compatible with the Gatling gun that came with the Burning Liger, but once again, I don't think it will look that good on this one. But once again, I do appreciate the fact that they try to cover up very nicely with these kind of stuff, with these kind of parts as well. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this unit as well. Now it comes into this extra part here. So the way how this works is most of them will slap on. However, there are some parts that you need to take off, such as the tail, and then there's a part where you actually need to replace, which are the feet. The feet, so basically in this XA mode, is that they basically change from blue, it would change into the matching color of the equipment. In this case, it would be this grayish black. But it doesn't really change color, but it also gets bigger. Now, like I said, in the web anime series, it doesn't really show that aspect too well, but once again, it gets bigger. So you get bigger feet, so you have to replace that. The tail gets longer, so you get like an extension part of the tail. And then the neck also gets longer and maybe thicker. Hence, you get like this extension for the neck. So, yeah, that's the way how it works. So I'll be right back after slapping all this on. So, yeah. Okay, I'm back. So we basically attached all the Buster equipment onto the Zeno Rex unit. So once again, in order for the upgrade to actually work, now once again you need to replace the feet as well, and then take off the middle part, take off the tail, and then add on this middle part, and then slap on this armor. And then also same goes for the neck. You have to attach this extension part so that it looks bigger and longer as well. So once again, here is the upgraded form in this XA mode. So in the web animation, this is like this final form that he uses to shoot a bigger unit, which I think he uses these giant cannons like a railgun to penetrate. I think it penetrated its armor, but yeah. So, well, once again, I am impressed by the size and the way how they implemented this gimmick on here. So, but once again, the only biggest problem is that I feel like this would be really cool if I could have some free range of movement on poses. But once again, even despite all this armor, it's still locked into place with this movement gimmick motorized system. But once again, as you can see, despite the extended neck gimmick, it can still open its mouth and close it up while moving. Same goes for the tail, where it can wag around as well. So let's see how or what's been equipped here. So let's start with the head as usual. So the head has this kind of big ass like hammer slash sensor here. So as far as I know, this is supposed to be like a sensor unit, and then you can actually pull this up frontwards to make this part go to the front, but also cover up the eye, so to kind of emphasize that it looks like it's scanning or looking into something. So that's a small detail that, you know, pretty fun as well. And here is the neck. It's literally just the extension here, but there's this part that they make sure that this part here goes behind the mouse, or else it's just going to be falling down here. And then there's this peg, which I have zero idea what these are for. So there's a lot, and even back in the Zoids, there would be like a lot of these pegs like just lying around just for hoping for customization purposes, but some of them are in like really odd places here, and some of them would be in different sizes. So yeah, so there's not much for the neck, and on the back here they give you this extra missile unit, so missile pod unit, so that's pretty cool as well. And then here on the side of the leg, so this part and the cannon is connected. You would think the cannon will be connected to the back section here, but no, these gigantic cannons are actually connected to the leg armor. So the leg armor, it just covers up pretty much the thigh area, and then you can actually, this is actually shown in the anime, is that you can actually open these up to reveal more missiles. So there will be a shot where he actually does a missile barrage on an enemy unit. So yeah, so that's pretty cool if you ask me. But once again, if you want to make this look even better, you might want to start like paneling or coloring the missiles individually into different colors. That would be looking much better. And before we go to the obvious cannons on the feet here, these cannons are kind of, as far as I understood them in the anime, they kind of look like they kind of work like rail cannons. So obviously there's going to be some recoil. So what they did is that they did a very obvious choice where you have these extra parts that can go downwards, and then, you know, to make it look like it's locked on the ground, which reminds you of another dino-like, you know, famous Zoid out there. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. It just makes you pull them go down, and that's it. There's nothing else that, you know, pops out or anything. And then, so now the obvious would be the cannons. So here are these gigantic cannons. Now make sure they're like facing the same direction, because they are on the legs. One thing that you're never going to match is like how should I say this? The positions of them. One will always be facing a little bit more forward, while the other one is a little bit on the backward. Now, of course, depending on the movement, you might be able to match the location, but yeah, and make sure, yeah, and make sure when it's moving around, make sure the cannon's location so they don't collide or get stuck on anything as well. And despite those leg parts right over here, the unit can still walk around pretty nicely. Of course, I think it got it a little bit slower, but still, it works. So let me just shut this off. All right, there we go. And now for the cannon, so to give out that recoil effect, they do give you, like, you can do these extensions parts, so to make it look longer and stuff. But once again, this one looks a little bit too long for my taste, which is why I like to put it all the way in to give it that balanced look. Now the cannon itself, it has like minimum details. There's no holes in here, but you have all the necessary engravings here, so you can go nuts over it. Once again, pegs and extra holes out there. Alright, and finally, let's look at the tail here. Now the tail, once again, you have to detach this end section and then apply this middle extension, and then apply this armor here. Now this part, I'm not really sure what it is. It definitely looks like exhaust pipes, like from a car. So maybe it gets more boost, or maybe more firepower or engine, and then this would fire up, who knows. But yeah, because these were very like short web animations, they're like less than 10 minutes, I think. So and then there's like 5 to 6 episodes, and the last episode kind of leaves us at a cliffhanger on an obvious part. So there's not much story to talk about this guy as well, other than the web animation series. So once again, I really feel like there were some designs that were really cool, like Burning Liger and Zeno Rex is definitely one of those things. And then they're in the background where they still keep the old school like storyline, like the Republic versus, like, you know, basically two nations on in a war situation. So yeah, I feel like they were trying to do something to like redeem themselves, but once again they had low budget. If you see the animation, they reuse a lot of repeat assets going on here, so it's a little bit sad to see that. But once again, I do hope maybe Zoids will make a comeback in the next few years, hopefully, because the T-Spark lineup, I'm really getting some, how should I say, hopeful, possibilities, because Zoids, the original Zoids were popular and they're still popular to this day. So I do wish they would just, sometimes a toy company would just, depending on the brand, if it's a brand where it's been old enough, where there's no longer kids enough to support it, but there's more adults, I do wish they would just now shift to more focusing on the adult targets instead of trying to get the kids back in. I understand why they're doing that, but at the same time, some brands just don't work that way. Anyway, this was the review of the Zeno Rex Buster XA mode from Zoids Wild Senki, from the short animation series. So once again, there are multiple options here. You can buy the Zeno Rex, the blue base unit, and buy the equipment like the scissor unit or the Buster unit separately if you want to keep the blue, or you can buy the XA versions, which includes every part for the specific unit equipment set, but it will be and also have matching colors. But if you want to keep the blue, then you're gonna have to wander around to get them separately. Anyway, hope you guys found this review enjoyable. Now, the reason why I'm reviewing this is because I also worked on a Saturday. I'm very tired, so I had to build something a little bit more simple, which was this. So once again, if you have any questions or requests, you can comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.